What you're about to hear now is a short and sweet guide to 2024 from a beautiful woman called Christina, who calls herself the Oxford Astrologer. Her name is Christina Rodenbeck, and she has been writing her oxfordastrologer.com blog since 2010. You'll actually find something like 1,000 articles about all aspects of astrology: political, personal, trivial, serious, traditional, psychological. There's an index, you can search on anything. And she actually writes really interesting blogs about world events on a fairly regular basis. She also does a podcast with the beautiful astrologer Sally Kirkman. And she writes in the Astrological Journal, and she has clients all over the world. I asked her, Christina, the Oxford Astrologer, Christina, what do you think everybody needs to know about the astrology of 2024? And this is what she said.
I'm Christina Rodenbeck from the Oxford Astrologer and Astrology Talk podcast, which I do with my friend Sally Kirkman. I'm assuming, for example, that all of my colleagues will be telling you about Pluto going into Aquarius, which of course is the huge thing in 2024. And that happens right at the beginning of the year in January. In fact, January itself is pretty interesting in a good way. Obviously, it's going to be really important for Aquarians and Capricorns. Capricorns because it's leaving, Aquarians because it's coming. And Pluto is the Lord of transformation. Now, like I said, I'm expecting everybody else to talk a lot about that. So I'm just skipping straight ahead to give you an idea of a useful way to think about 2024 for yourself, which is that we are going from a very earthy year, 2023, and we're gradually moving into really quite a lot more air. And this is because 2023, Pluto was in Capricorn. Jupiter was in Taurus for most of the time. These are earth signs. And all of the Mercury retrogrades were also in earth signs. This is all switching around in 2024, right? So Pluto goes into the air sign of Aquarius. Jupiter will be going into Gemini at the end of May. And Jupiter is the expander. And the Mercury retrogrades, for the most part, will be in fire signs. They'll have a little bit of earth, but they'll be in fire signs. So we've got fiery Mercury retrogrades, and then we have this rush of air coming in. A lot of the other outer planets are staying, I wouldn't say static because they never are, but they're staying, Saturn will remain in Pisces, Uranus will remain in Taurus, and Neptune will remain in Pisces. So we've still got a lot of water going on as well. So don't forget that there's this watery element that's ongoing, a sort of undercurrent of water, of emotion, and an undercurrent of that kind of, it's an ending energy when it's in Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. But there are a couple of dates that I just would advise you to sort of think about and really focus on. Well, 3 dates actually, that's not a couple. So first of all, there's Pluto going into Aquarius in January. There's a Uranus-Jupiter conjunction in April, and then there's Jupiter going into Gemini in May, where it will trine Pluto. Just to disentangle that for you, what does that all mean? It sounds really technical. It means that when Uranus and Jupiter make a conjunction in Taurus, these are the planet of surprise and upset and excitement, Uranus, making conjunction with this planet of expansion in Taurus, which is one of the signs of it's an earth sign. It's a sign of money. It's a sign of sensuality. It's a sign of actual practicality, of real things happening. So you can expect some fireworks in those departments in April, especially. And if you have anything in Taurus or anything opposite that, Taurus in Scorpio, you're going to feel this. So that first part of the year, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, which is really a planet you should really always watch, is still in Taurus, is still in that earthy sign, and it's still really a time for expansion for Taurians. For Scorpios, it's all about relationships. The fixed signs, for Leo, it's all about career, and that you should be focusing on that expansion, on where Taurus is in your chart, okay? Then Jupiter moves into Gemini, and the focus shifts to air signs. And as Jupiter moves into Gemini in June, it makes this amazing trine with Pluto. And that is transformative. right? And if you have anything in Gemini or any of the air signs in particular, I think this is going to be really affecting you. You may have a sudden expansion of ideas, of being able to see actually where things might start to go in the next 20 years. That's how long Pluto is going to be in Aquarius. So that moment in June, when Jupiter changes signs, makes that amazing contact, is really, really important. And obviously, Gemini is one of the air signs, so it's a sign of ideas. It's a sign of communications. Pluto is in Aquarius, which is the sign of the internet. So we're going to see some kind of rapid expansion at that point with maybe AI, internet, all that stuff. But you know what? Anybody could predict that. You don't need to be an astrologer to know that the future is coming down the road really fast. And how this affects you personally will be different depending on what your chart is. But you can be guaranteed that people who are airy, that's Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, are going to be feeling this sudden expansion of possibility, because that is what Jupiter gives you. It gives you possibility, gives you extremity, gives you exaggeration. And, we all like to say, oh, Jupiter, the luckiest planet. It can also be too much. One of the things I would recommend with Jupiter is coming into your sign, Geminis, is to pace yourself. And the same with Taurus. For that first half of the year, you've got a lot more Jupiter in Taurus. Take all the opportunities you can. You're going to be offered opportunities, but also pace yourself. Don't overdo it. Try and keep grounded as you have Jupiter in your sign. There's a lot more to talk about. There's all the eclipses, etc., but I will leave that to my colleagues as it is. Have a very good 2024.